Welcome, welcome.
Hello, sorry.
That's all right.
I was not nervous until you counted down. I'm like, oh man, this is happening. Whew, let's go. Let's
Nah,
go.
you're all good. You're all good. I'm just going to slam you straight with the questions. So,
Go for it.
first of all, what is your favorite meal?
Oh, you gave me a hard question right off the bat. You gave me a really hard one right off the bat. I would say any good cut of red meat and like a potato.
Proper steak.
A proper steak, a potato, a good potato, like a good baked potato or something like that. And maybe throw a Caesar salad just so it
So it looks like a
there's
full
a
plate.
little bit of greens in there. A
Yeah,
little bit of greens.
sounds good. How'd you take your steak?
If it's anything higher than medium rare, then it's not a steak; it's a roast beef. At
Got
that
you.
point,
I agree. I'm a rare person. Tea or coffee?
tea. I've never been a fan of coffee. I never drank it. I actually made it a point of pride when I was in college that I wasn't one of those people that drank coffee to get through.
Were you
And
necking the Red
I
Bulls?
honestly never really drank tea. Pardon?
Were you necking the Red Bulls?
No,
Hmm?
no. Actually, it was a little bit of this.
Yeah, so there's still caffeine involved. But
There's
yeah,
still
so when you
caffeine
say
involved.
tea, is this a British tea? Is this your Earl Grey? Is this a breakfast tea? Is this some sort of green fruity stuff?
I I actually much prefer. I got it one time. There was a apple cinnamon. I believe I don't know if the blend had a specific mix, but it was an apple cinnamon mix, and I really loved it because I'm a huge sucker for apple cinnamon. And so when I saw that it was like a specialty tea store, I hadn't really ever started drinking like those fancy teas, not fancy, the more flavorful and different tea blends that you don't just get out of a little bag.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, I need to try this. And I brought it home with me. I brought it home with me. I never ended up using it at home, but I brought it to my workplace and I would always drink it there. And it was perfect for when we had to be there until like there were tons of nights where I was working 9 a.m. until like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And it was perfect just after dinner,
Yeah.
just to keep myself going.
It's a seller, isn't it? No, I think apple cinnamon tea sounds really nice. What is your
Yeah.
favorite non-alcoholic beverage?
I think I'm holding it.
Yep.
It shouldn't be,
Ah, why not?
because it's terrible for me, but it keeps me going, and I can't stop. I've had tons of people tell me that like you should cut back, and I'm like, all right, well, yes, but at the same time, it's
No.
delicious.
Yeah, I'm Pepsi
At the
Max
same
all the
time,
way.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, and
100%.
it's hard too because when that's where you get your caffeine fix.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as telling a person to cut back on the coffee. All of a sudden, they're really reduced caffeine, and it's like, oof,
Falling asleep at
it's
6 in the
it can be
evening.
tough.
No, I
Yeah.
can't be having that. What about alcohol? Do you drink alcohol?
Not as much anymore. I never, I used to, and I kind of still will if there's like a big get together, or I probably will once, I can see friends and family again.
Hmm.
And so when I do, it's usually a rum and coke kind of
Sure.
deal. Pretty classic. One of my favorites actually is, it's an amaretto called Di Serono.
Yep.
And I put that in cola as well, like usually a Coke or
That's a
something. But
sweet drink.
yeah, but that's the thing. I drink so much of the pop and stuff that like I've never been afraid of sweets,
Yep.
and it ends up coming out very. It almost tastes like a cherry
Hmm.
flavor to it, which I just find hits really well. I don't do well with the ones that hit hard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a Scotch, things like that, or like a shot of vodka and stuff. Usually that has me going like, oh god, like that really hit hard. But something smooth,
Hmm.
fruity drinks, appletini,
Yeah.
I
That's
can
right on
get through.
Coke's a nice drink.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you made your own cocktail, what would you call it?
Oh, no, naming things it
Hmm.
takes me forever. I feel like it would have to be something to do with, like the rain, right? Like
Yeah.
the weather. It would have to be some sort of weather related pun
Risk
or
of
something,
rain.
like a raindrop or something like that.
Oh,
You know what I
raindrop
mean?
sounds nice. Yeah, I like that.
A raindrop would be good. I can see that being very, very much like, well, what are the ones where you'll like drop a shot into something and
Yeah,
and
yeah. A
chug it?
bomb, as they
I
as
can
they
see
call
that
it.
being
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So obviously you're quite into your films. I think that's a given, really, given your work. What's your
Yeah,
favorite film
yeah.
of all time?
This is going to be probably polarizing to people, but actually, I'd say it changes a lot. I'm one of those people that my favorite kind of changes as I
Yeah, of
grow
course.
older, as I see new things. Right now in my life, it's got to be Endgame, Avengers Endgame. Because from the moment I watched Iron Man 1 all the way until Endgame, I was so invested and enjoyed all of those movies, most of those movies. And I actually had the privilege of working on Endgame for what I do. And so it kind of brought everything together with my work and my youth. I want to say I wasn't like kid when I think Iron Man came out, I
Hmm.
believe, but I was much younger, and
And
so
they're
it
also
was
films that connect us to our
however
youth, right?
exactly, yeah, and it was the end of how long of this big saga that went, and I felt like it really ended well, and that's why I find it polarizing because I know some people got a little bored with the superhero genre by the end of it, but I held on.
Yeah, I see. I wasn't bored at all. I've been super invested in it throughout, but Endgame to me was not my favorite for different reasons. It felt like too much. I think I'd
I can
I'd
see
have
that.
been okay if Endgame had have been where it ended, but because they then had to
Oh
continue,
yeah,
and that's where
I
to
can
me it loses
see.
its impact.
I can see that. And actually, I've told people before that if you want to just watch up to Endgame, that's probably a fine point if
Mm,
you never want to watch a Marvel film again. Although I will say that Spider-Man: Far From Home, I really liked as a kind of stepping stone off of Endgame. I think that was
yeah,
a good choice by them on the next movie to come out after Endgame,
yeah. No, I
which I
agree
think
with you.
that's the only one that's released at this point.
Yeah,
I feel like
probably.
I should know that because I work on a lot of them, but
Yeah. No, I think
never.
I think that's fair. What about actors, actresses? Any favorites?
I almost want to say Robert Downey Jr. just because Iron Man absolutely was my favorite character. Who else? Chris Pratt was always good. Actually, I'm totally blank. This is terrible. I'm in an interview. I shouldn't be blanking on this. The 10th Doctor. It was
David Tennant.
Not Matt Smith. David Tennant. Yes, thank you. Why am I blanking on that? David Tennant. I really like him as an actor. I feel like everything I've seen him in, whether it be voice work or the movies that he's been in, I very much enjoy him. And any interview I've seen of him, he seems like a very down to earth person.
Hmm.
He's not full of himself. He knows what he is. He knows what he does. Stuff like that.
Yeah, he's incredible.
So, yeah, I'm a really big fan of his. And the 10th Doctor was the first one I ever saw. So, of course, that makes him my favorite, as is the custom.
Yeah. I think also in a weird way, David Tennant and Robert Downey Jr. aren't particularly dissimilar in the sort of. I mean, neither of them are typecast as such, but they still
Yeah.
have that slight type of mild arrogance or self assuredness, which is really
Yeah.
different to their interview personality actually for both of them. But
Yeah.
it's definitely
Oh,
the sort of
absolutely. Yeah.
type of character they seem to play, and I think that's quite reassuring to watch as a viewer. I think, somebody who's a bit cocksure. It's sort of
Yeah, and
all
actually
it's who we want to
it's
be, isn't it?
yeah. It's to what you said, it makes sense, when they're not that way in the interviews that they give, but then to see them flip it on for the camera, it makes you go like, "Oh, wow, this person really can just,
Mm,
snap their fingers and boom, they're into this character in a way that really brings you in." And I think that on some level that really helps with the problem you see where for some people you stop seeing them as the character they're playing and you start seeing them as the actor that's playing the character.
100%.
I think recently I read that somebody had made that comment about Paul Rudd. He's being in so much lately, and they're starting to see him as more of
I don't
Paul
know who that
Rudd rather
is.
than the character. Ant-Man.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
and
I see what you mean with
yeah,
that. Yeah, people start to see him as the actor as opposed to the character.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that
And I think
especially
being able
happens
to
when you
turn
get
them up.
typecast, though, doesn't it? Um,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. It's you always end up with the people who everybody says like, oh, Jason Momoa is another one. It's like, oh, Jason Momoa is just playing Jason Momoa. It's like, but that's what he's being cast for
hmm.
because they want that. So it's not like it's his fault. That's what they're casting for. That's what he's giving them, and unfortunately, that's what people see, and they think that it's just him.
But also, if you know you want a character of that type, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking an actor who
Oh
clearly
no,
knows how to
absolutely.
demonstrate those skills.
Nope,
What about
absolutely not. No.
soundtracks? You got a favorite movie soundtrack?
A favorite movie soundtrack. That one might go to, oh, I don't know if I can pinpoint one. There's always usually the one song in any soundtrack that really sticks out to me,
Mm,
and so it's almost an amalgamation. I mean, like I said, the Avengers theme, the Jurassic Park theme. What else? Pirate. It's usually the theme, the main theme, the really big
mm.
one, because the Pirates Caribbean theme, like those ones usually stand out to me, and those are the ones that I find myself humming all the time. If I had to go for a full soundtrack, I might want to say Tron 2, only because I'm a big fan of Daft Punk.
That's yeah,
Um, you
fantastic
know,
soundtrack.
but
It's
and
one
they
of the
did the
few
whole thing.
soundtracks I'd
So.
stick on a CD. I wouldn't
Yep,
even,
and
I don't even need the
I have
movie.
listened to
I'm
it.
quite happy with just
Yep.
the soundtrack. If you could be part of a movie universe, you don't have to be part of the story at all, just in that world. What would you choose?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to keep chirping, repeating Avengers in the Marvel universe. I think that one's a little bit dangerous to be in, to be honest.
Also, if you're not one with superpowers, it's just the world.
Yeah, I'm just kind of there.
Yeah,
You're right.
you're just a normal person. I was more thinking sort
Um,
of, I don't know, maybe Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or um something that's more abstract.
yeah, Harry Potter. And now, are we going for just movies?
Yeah, just movies.
Just movies? I think Harry Potter would be a good one. You kind of end up with the same thing where if you're
Ah,
not
you could be a
magical,
wizard.
you're just
You
kind
could
of
be
a
a
person.
wizard.
But
We'll
yeah,
allow that.
I think I'd probably go for that because I do very much. I'm a big fan of magic and
Mm.
in a weird way, not necessarily the theatrics of it, but the utility of it,
Yeah.
if that
Oh,
makes sense.
100%.
Like so Harry Potter would be good. I think that you have a lot of fun when it comes to that world.
Yeah. I'd be
And
happy with just one spell. I can't remember what they call it, but the one that summons things to you.
yeah, I can't remember the
Yeah.
exact name.
But he
It's
does it
so
with a
long, but
broomstick
yeah,
at some point. But if I could just, whoop, and have the soap or the
yeah.
Pepsi or whatever it is.
I would I'd kill for just if I could just have a spell. Like I think Ron Weasley's mother does it at one point. She casts a spell and all her stuff, like the dishes, start doing themselves
Oh
and
god,
stuff like
yeah.
that. I'd kill for that.
Yeah, that'd be
Just
quite nice.
I'd be
Just
able to
clear
focus on
up.
so many other things. Yeah, so many
Yeah.
other things I'd be able to focus on, and the house just kind of cleaning itself behind me.
What a world. Eh. Well, it won't be long. It won't be long before our house is cleaning itself anyway. I was
Oh yeah.
watching a 2-hour YouTube video of somebody looking for their automatic vacuum the other day. Accio, that's the one, Donby. Accio, yeah.
Yeah,
Accio,
yeah.
$1 million. Yeah, I'll have a bit of that. Moving on to TV shows. What TV show are you enjoying right now?
That's
Can be anime or regular show.
probably. Oh, if we're talking anime, I can absolutely
Either,
mention that
whichever you're
because I don't
watching
really
right now.
watch traditional TV
Yeah.
anymore. Most of my content is all online, but I do watch, and anybody that knows me knows exactly what I'm about to say. And it's an anime called Doctor Stone, and it's by and far my favorite anime, especially like I think of all time. To be honest,
Oh,
and it's just because it's such a theme, working from nothing and rebuilding back to the technology we had is basically the theme.
all
There's
right.
a little bit more to it, but it fits me so well and what I like, and I can't get over how much I feel like it's like this was made for me.
Yeah.
Like this is
Why?
so
Why?
what
What
I
is in it
am.
that sort of resonates with you?
Like I said, I'm a big fan of technology and how we got to where we are, and the fact that all of our technology built on the technology that came before it to become where we are. I actually there's a book before this even came out. There was a book I read uh, I'm blanking on the title at the immediate moment, but it was by a man named Lewis Dartnell, and it was basically if the whole premise was here's an instruction book on if the world ended today and you had only a limited amount of people and no technology to work with, how would you get us back to where we were?
Yeah.
And so when I read that, I was super interested in that topic. And then this anime came out, Doctor Stone. It's been a book for a long time, but I hadn't seen it until then. And I was just like, this is what I like. I like figuring things out. I like working from nothing up to everything because it's just like a big puzzle to solve. And it's like a fast track of here is all of humanity's accomplishments fast tracked.
Mm.
Not to mention specifically for Doctor Stone, I like the characters, I like the humor. It's got a
Yeah.
lot of that going on too, so that helps a lot. Or else it'd be probably really dry for anyone else in the world.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you rewatch much? Do you rewatch an episode here and there of anything, not of Doctor Stone
Of
necessarily?
anything? Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's your
I mean,
go-to if you're just, half an hour eating some food, chucking on an old episode of something? What would you go to?
uh, it's probably it's weird. Like now, again, TV is a little bit iffy, and anime is a little bit. Sorry, I got a sirens going by. Sorry, apologize if
Sure.
you can hear that. Uh, a lot of it's YouTube. I'll throw on a YouTube video that I've seen before, and I'll rewatch that. And in fact, almost it's not quite the same, but I'm a very big fan of watching compilation videos of old moments.
Mm,
I find that those really help because it's just everything prepackaged into a little bit, and it kind of triggers that memory of like, I remember when that happened. That was really good. It's
yeah.
still funny. I still like it. But I think that it's hard. I get really bored if I do the same thing over and over and over again. So I kind of try and mix it up as best I can.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle. I
I'll
can't
read
really
it in.
rewatch a TV show, but my husband will pop on, an episode of Friends every time he's sitting down to eat, and he's seen it
Yeah,
100 times, and it just doesn't seem to bother him. He just,
and
as
that's
a
the thing I've
comfort,
heard
I guess,
people
it's
say.
revisiting old friends.
Yeah, literally in this case. But I've heard people say that they don't go back and reread books. Like my mother will do this. She'll get a book, she'll read it, and then she'll give it to Goodwill or sell it to a used
Oh
bookstore or
man,
whatever and get a new book, which is totally her prerogative. Like that's
yeah.
fine. And I'm just like, no, like I keep the books
Mm.
because I'm going to reread them. I've got tons of books that I probably should go back and reread. I do the same thing with games, right? A few years go by, you kind of forget some things, and you're like, you know what? I do want to play that again.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you just pick
definitely
it
a
up.
rereader. I'm just not a rewatcher. Um,
Yeah.
if you could be friends with a group from a TV show or from an anime, like just in real life, just grab a few of those people and go, oh, yeah, I get on really well with those. Who would you choose or what show?
I think it might be Doctor Stone,
Yeah,
just because they're all
tech
really
heads.
funny. Yeah, there's honestly the whole premise is that only one of them is the aforementioned Doctor Stone is the super genius.
Ah, okay.
Uh, but they're all good characters and they all fit. And like I don't know, maybe they wouldn't like me, but I'd have a good time just
Yeah, no,
watching them.
that's yeah, it
So
seems like a
and I
pretty
like
chill one.
learning stuff. So it's like, yeah, like teach me, like let me learn.
Bring it back to traditional TV. Have you got a favorite traditional TV series all time?
Huh. It's kind of a toss up because I've never been huge into traditional TV, but it might be. I really enjoy Friends. I know a lot of people in North America don't. I think a lot. It's a big in the UK though, from what I remember.
Yeah, very much so.
Uh,
Or was.
and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think probably Friends or Scrubs.
Oh, I love Scrubs.
Both are two of my favorites. And Scrubs is one that I think I could actually go back and watch, probably more than Friends,
Hmm.
because I feel like it's a little bit timeless. Whereas Friends, you really get the era that it's filmed
Definitely
in.
dated, yeah. I
Yeah,
think the other thing with
whereas
Scrubs as well is that it's paired so well, the light humor and the deep emotion sort of
yeah,
is
that's why
so yeah.
actually, if you want to go for that, Futurama, I found the same way.
Never seen
That's
it.
animated, but it's still traditional TV. That's another one of my favorites for that reason. They pair a lot of comedy, with a lot of like really heartfelt moments that you don't really expect, and then people are just like, "Oh God, I'm gonna cry."
Yeah. No, I think and also those sorts of emotional moments hit harder when you're not when you're invested for a different reason. When you're not
Yeah,
invested because, oh my god, I'm in love with this character or that character, but instead, you were just having a laugh and everything was so pleasant and these are your friends, and then suddenly, oh my god. And I think
yeah,
that's
exactly. Yep.
huge. Um Bring it on to music. Are you big on the music?
Yes and no. I do enjoy listening to music, but I usually get most of the bands and stuff from other people. Like I don't
Yeah.
go out looking, and I'm not the big music explorer. But when I hear stuff I like, and especially when other people show me stuff they like, I might like kind of absorb that into
Mm.
me and be like, I like this. This is mine now.
Yeah, you got a favorite band
um,
or favorite artist?
Daft Punk might be favorite.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, not together anymore, but uh, they were They were one of the first ones where I liked them enough to buy their CD. When I was very young, I never really was into buying CDs, things
Mm,
like that. And Daft Punk was the first one where it's like, I want to buy this CD. This is a good, like somebody
yeah.
else played it for me, and I was like, this is good. I'm gonna buy this CD, and then I just kind of carried it through, and it carried me into that kind of electronic music that is probably a staple of what I like now.
Mhm.
Anything with like electronic kind of anything, like I like electro swing, just straight electronic. I can jam to some lo-fi if I really need to just like
Yeah.
take a breather, stuff like that. So I think they really carried me into that,
And they're such
I
a wide
appreciate them for it.
genre as well. Like they're not one
Yeah.
thing. You get taken on a journey with the Daft Punk album, which I love. Um,
Yep.
have you got a guilty pleasure? Have you got something that you listen to that you just think, you know, just on your own, have a little dance around in the bedroom?
Not that I dance to because I'm lazy, but
Good
I
reasoning.
yeah, there's definitely I want to say Taylor Swift. Now, not all of Taylor Swift. Specifically, I is it called Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah. Love Story, I
Was
think
one of
is the name of
my
the song.
yeah, Love Story. I think is actually the true title of
Love
it. You're
that
right,
track.
and I love it. And I know it's like that, or although I haven't heard the song in a very long time. Uh, it was a Bruno Mars song, and I can't think of the name of it now. I'm so
Not the
bad for this.
lazy
My
song.
memory is so bad. It's not lazy. No, it was Bruno. It wasn't. I think I want to marry you. It was
Grenade?
the other kind of romantic-ish kind of one he had.
Yeah, there's lots of
Uh,
them. There's
but
Grenade,
yeah, it
there's
was
I
one of
Should Have Brought You
those. And I
Flowers, you know.
remember, yeah, and I remember one time I was listening to it, and I think I had just had my headphones on too loud, and I was in college, and a friend of mine sitting next to me kind of turned to me, and they're like, "Yo, what's up? Like, I didn't know you liked that song. It really doesn't seem up your alley." And I'm like, "Really? Does it not? Like, I don't know. I don't know what sounds like it's up my alley."
Now, When I Was Your Man is the song I was thinking of. It's really
Oh,
emotional. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's the
yeah.
I Should Have
I don't
Brought You
think that was
Flowers in
it.
the Pouring Rain thing. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He does have a lot of emotional songs
he's a heartstring puller.
that yeah, exactly. And he sings well. Like I really
Yeah,
do.
definitely a good thing.
I do
But yeah,
enjoy
I mean,
that.
that's sort of, yeah. Taylor Swift as a guilty pleasure is pretty safe, really. It's not
Yes.
Spice Girls or Aqua, you know.
I know it. I just looked it up actually. It was Just the Way You Are.
Oh yeah, yeah, beautiful song.
That was the one that I really vibed with,
Yep. Do
cuz
you drive, by the way?
I do not. I have gotten like I don't know if you know how it works in Canada, or if it works similar in the UK, but it basically you go, you take a test, you get your G1, that's what they call it, which means that you have to be with somebody who has their full license. So it's like a training
Oh, I
license,
wish we
basically.
did that. No, you can do that from the start.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's three stages. There's G1, which is you have to have somebody else in the car. G2, which is you can drive by yourself, but I think only with a certain amount of passengers, if I remember correctly. And then your full G, which you take, that's basically that's your license for good. You don't have to
Right.
take any more tests. I've gotten my G1 twice and never gone further than that. And the reason being is that I never really had to drive anywhere because things were so close for me. And the other reason is when I went to college, all of a sudden I went from sickliest, right? All of a sudden I went from college to and I couldn't practice. I had nobody that had their full G to let me
Mm,
practice with them. So it was like, I'm not going to bother. And now I live in Toronto, which is close and everything's close enough together that I can take streetcars, subway, anything. And it's like, and I'm not paying for, I'm not paying for parking and stuff like that in Toronto. I'm not doing that. That's just a mess. So it just, again, a long-winded answer for basically no, I don't. And as of right now, I don't have any reason to.
no, that's fair. That's fair. So that sort of changes my next question. So, if you were going for a walk late at night, sort of, the traffic lights are on, but there's no one around. You got your
Yeah.
earphones in. What song's playing? What's your sort of pensive, wandering out in the dark moment? Oh,
Oh, a pensive song that I listen to. That's hard because anytime because this has actually happened to me many times. When I was in college, I would stay working at school until like 2 in the morning and then walk home because the buses weren't running. And I don't think I ever had a pensive song. Like, it was usually just a mix of favorites that I was so tired that I wasn't really paying attention, but they would it's if I'm walking late or I'm walking in general, I like to listen to something that has a good faster beat
Hmm.
because it makes my legs move faster and I can get where I'm going fast.
It's really interesting actually because my song for this is a Daft Punk track. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I was quite
good
intrigued. It's
one.
Daft Punk Within. So I was just intrigued as to whether it's a similar sort of feeling.
It is. That's definitely on there because they do have some quick moving songs that
Hmm.
I can like speed up to. A little bit of metal. I don't listen to a ton of metal, but but it's very light kind of metal songs, if that makes
Mhm.
any sense, that I would sometimes listen to. Stuff to keep me awake, usually high
Yeah,
beat, high volume, very keep me awake kind of thing.
that sounds good.
I don't think I've ever been like a pensive song type of person. Maybe when I was an angsty teenager, but I can't think of anything for that.
Yeah. Well, I'll take you onto an easy topic: video games. What's
That is
your
very easy.
favorite game series of all time? Not so
Banjo
easy.
Kazooie.
Ooh, another one. I think the
I can
third in a row.
absolutely. Really?
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. It took me a very long time to realize that because again, like movies, I it changes and it changes, but I think the constant that I've always gone back to is I just like playing the banjo games.
Mm.
You know, the only 2 banjo games, the only 2 banjo games.
Yeah, Sneaky Teak was the same straight away, instant.
Yep,
They're
absolutely, and
beautifully
you know what?
crafted.
Oh, amazing. The level, especially so I went to college for video game
Mm.
development. And I think that is part of the reason that I like it so much because I can appreciate the music, the level design, the jokes, the humor that lands
Mm.
because it's just such a silly kind of game and the gameplay is really well. And I think all that coming together, I can appreciate so well. Now, I'm not saying that that makes me appreciate it more than anybody else. I think that's just my reason
Mm.
that I appreciate it so well because I played I don't know if you guys know about the spiritual successor, which was ukulele.
Oh.
And I tried to play that. It was basically they kind of brought back a spiritual successor. It was very much in the same vein as banjo. And personally, I think that game should have never come out.
Yeah.
They basically the only thing that they took from that game was the fact that you collect things and the music was great. The level design was and the kind of story was just so mediocre. I mean, the level design actually I would say was flat out bad. It's the worst aspect of
Mm.
that game. And so I think that again really highlights the fact that Banjo Kazooie and Tooie both had such good level design, and it really leads you through in an organic way. And I think that means so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you see those sort of remakes, they don't necessarily realize how well crafted the original was until they try and redo it.
Hmm.
And it's almost a testimony to how well done the game is that when people try and follow it up, it just doesn't work. Um,
No, absolutely.
yeah, no, I think they're brilliant games. Um, what are you playing off stream at the moment?
I actually spent most of today playing a game called The Isle with a friend of
Okay.
mine. We don't get to play games a ton anymore, but we jumped on The Isle, which, for those who don't know, it's very bare bones, but it's kind of just dumb fun when you're playing it.
Mm.
You play as a dinosaur and you just live. You go, you eat, sometimes you fight other dinosaurs that are other players, and that's it. And you wander around the map having a good time. And it's mostly just like, let's just hang out, talk, and have a good time for a little while.
Mm. I think they're
Other than that,
fantastic games.
I yeah, I'm trying to think after other than that, I think I've basically just run it like I kind of stopped a few of the games. I played Super Mario 64 to go back to the N64 last weekend because I never had finished the full 120 stars, and I thought it was about time to make that a reality for myself. And I'm like, I need to make sure I can do it. Also, I'm bored. It was a long weekend. I was like, let's just do it. But yeah, other than that, I've kind of run it. I need to refresh my off stream games and get them back in a
Yeah.
little bit. You know, find something new. But the problem is I enjoy finding games to stream so much that I usually end up
Mm.
hoarding them, and then I'm like, I'll play this on stream, and I'll play this on stream, and then
I'm the
what am I going
same.
to do off
There's a
stream?
list sort of like this, and you're going, oh, no, I'll
Yeah,
hold that off and I'll hold that off. Um,
yep.
Obviously, Banjo Kazooie aside, is there a childhood game you remember with fond nostalgia? Perhaps one that might need a remake or that you wish was revisited or is a little bit more niche.
Uh, there is one that is actually going to be revisited this month, at the end of this month, and that is Pokemon Snap.
Oh yeah.
Now, I did play that on Friday, the OG,
Hmm.
because I just needed some comfort
That was some
game,
great fun.
and like I said, it's just very relaxing, very chill, especially on a Friday when you just want to come down from the week. And and yeah, not the remake, I guess the second version, the new one is coming out at the end of this month, and it's been a while since I was as excited for a game release.
Yeah, no, I've only briefly heard about this. I haven't actually seen any of the updates. I didn't even play the original, but I think that's it's another version of sort of light fun, isn't it? Um, that yeah, sort of
Yeah,
allows you to just have a giggle,
it's
really.
yeah, yeah. We got a picture of an Eevee yesterday that it looks like that Eevee just finished smoking the biggest joint you've ever seen. And that
Fantastic.
was just one of the funniest moments I've ever had in that game.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
It's
Um,
great.
who's your favorite character from a video game?
Oh, that's another tough one because I love so many. I'm trying to like cycle now through a list of characters. I'm hesitant to say anything from Kingdom Hearts. I do love that series, as many problems as that series has on its own. But I don't think I could stand out any of the specific characters as my favorite. The problem is I almost want to say like my own, from like MMOs and stuff.
Yeah, no, I
Just
agree.
'cause
I think a lot
you have a
definitely the
lot
ones
of
to get
fun.
most attached to as well.
Yeah, you have a lot of fun. Actually, if I want to go for a character, just that while I'm thinking about it, there's a character in Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is a CRPG, called Octavia. And throughout that game, I don't want to get into too much spoiler, but throughout that game, you can romance Octavia. It's just one of those things that happens, right? In games like that. And I found that story so compelling just because of how you meet her and what happens as you go through those stories. And like, I don't know why. It was just that's just one of the characters I thought of it. That's one of my favorite characters just for the story arc
Mm.
that she goes through and that you kind of go through together. I thought it was a very well written romance arc, if that makes any sense,
Hmm.
and
No,
character
definitely.
development. Because so often they kind of just do like, I'm in love with you now. That's it.
Yeah.
That you hit the arbitrary number of like get good
Good
points, and
things.
now I
Yeah.
now I love you. Yeah.
No, I'm totally behind you with
And
this. I'm totally behind you with this. Pathfinder Kingmaker is actually a game that I was going to be streaming. And normally I tend to avoid watching anyone play those games because I don't want to spoil the story
yeah,
for myself. And it was
yeah,
late one night and I flicked on your stream and you were sort of right at the beginning. And I just sort of let it play. And I was
yeah,
gripped. I mean, as because I think a lot of the problem that isometric RPGs, these sort of up top RPGs, is you don't feel like you're in the game. You don't feel like you're in the story. These are those characters
yeah,
over there. And the writing is so fantastic that it's yeah, I agree with you 100%. The romances, the random interactions, um,
yeah.
it's compelling, like you said. Um,
Yeah, and actually to that point, Baldur's Gate 3, which is coming out, that is by the people who made Divinity.
mm.
Uh, I played I have the beta or alpha or whatever they're calling it for that.
Oh, you do?
I wasn't sure. I played because they only have like basically the first level, if that
Mm.
makes any sense, as far as I know. And I played through that, and it's another one of those where they did such a good job with the story. I'm mixing up words now that there was a character I hated. I didn't hate, I guess. I didn't like this character in the beginning. And then he tells you his story, his personal story. And I went, "Oh, I'd love this character now."
Mm.
All of a sudden it went from I didn't like you to I like you and I want to finish your story. Like I want to get
Yeah.
through that story.
And that's such a good carry
And
through from
it's
the
another one
original
of those things.
games, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2,
Yes.
that was the storytelling is just incredible. On the
Yeah.
subject of these party-based RPG games. So if you're making a little role-playing group, six-man party, perhaps you're playing a D&D campaign, whatever. Which one are you?
If it's actually anything, if it's D&D or I guess a CRPG, Wizard. Like I said earlier, I like I discovered this again. It was another thing I discovered recently. I discovered a lot about myself recently. It was I don't like mages in MMOs,
Hmm.
but for some reason I love them in other RPGs like CRPGs or tabletop RPGs. I couldn't pinpoint why, and I thought, oh wait, it's because MMOs it's just hit button, wait for spell, hit button, wait for spell. In an RPG, it's all right. How can I use this spell to my advantage?
Mm-hmm.
How can I use this grease spell to stop that enemy from getting to me so the rest of my party can
Yeah.
attack it? Or how can I help the rest of the party? How can I use these things out of combat? It's not all combat spells. And I think that's why I love it so much because it's truly magical.
Yeah.
It is you are doing your thing not just to blow the enemy up, although that's fun. It's to make things happen and to help people and to do things like that too. It's just I don't it's just I guess the utility. That's all I can
Yeah.
say is the
It's
utility fun
fun,
that you can
right?
have. Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
fun. I mean, I
That is
love the fact that as the spells go upwards in sort of D&D rules games, they become more and more outlandishly weird.
yeah.
You don't just
Yeah.
do more damage, you do silly. You teleport people into the sky, or make a globe of invulnerability that you can't get out of, or it's great fun, I
Yeah.
think they're brilliant.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, or there was a spell in Pathfinder where you like you can shapeshift yourself. And I'm
mm,
just like, that's fun. It doesn't mean anything because my stats are still garbage, so I can't hit anything. But guess what? It's fun. If
yeah.
I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it,
When I played Dragon Age, I played as a shapeshifter. Totally useless. Don't ever do it yourself. It was awful for the entire duration of the game, but I had so much fun. Um,
Yeah.
we started to move on to
God.
something a little bit harder, a little bit more personal. You're on a desert island. You're stranded. No communication, no rescue ability. Can't get any more or produce any more of anything. What one physical material possession would you take?
Of something I own,
Yeah,
like right now. Oh god, I own too much
non-technology
stuff.
based as well,
Uh Non-technology?
because you're on a desert island. It's useless to
I really wish that I owned a boat. Uh
It could be anything from
I
a favorite T-shirt to a photo to you know,
I think if I could get a photo of or a photo book of like family and friends, keep that motivation going,
yeah,
you know, just because while you're waiting there or trying to figure out how to get off or the island or what have you, I feel like that's what grounds you.
yeah.
And a little bit of a sappy answer, but
No,
like
I mean, I think it's
I
very,
think you
very
just you,
fair.
you just need something to keep that motivation up,
Mhm.
really.
One music
Yeah.
album. This is something you just put to your ear and you can hear it. Stuck with one album.
That might be the Alive tour. Daft Punk's Alive tour
Fantastic
album.
choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought so.
One book.
One book.
You can choose a trilogy if necessary.
No, that's God, I almost want to put I know it's a deserted island, but like in my head, I almost want to put that book that tells you how to restart technology just because there's so much info there that I could use
Yeah.
to try and keep myself alive. And that's the thing is like if I was ever in a survival situation, I'm not the person who's going hunting. I'm not the person who's,
Now we're assuming that that
doing
sort
all
of thing's
that.
just going to
It's
happen for you.
yeah,
Um,
I'm the type of person who's like, all right, let's get a farm. We're gonna be here for who knows long. Maybe not a farm, but like let's get like a shelter going. Let's figure out how to like let's get a television. Let's just build a television, guys. Come on, like we can do this. We have all this stuff.
yeah, no,
Um, I'm the I feel like I'm the brain guy. Like that's where I fit.
yeah,
I'd
and even
be
if it doesn't work, you still have fun with it, right?
exact. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops! I accidentally blew something up. Oh
Uh,
well, it was fun.
one person.
That's a hard choice. That's a hard choice. I think that might actually be harder than the item because I think that there's quite a few people in my life that I think I could stand being stuck with,
Important part of it.
and B, that I could that I'm close enough to that, again, I think I'd be okay being stuck with. Uh, I would say possibly my brother, who's right there telling me to choose wisely, and my brother or Softy.
Softy would be a
I
brilliant
think
person to
both.
take with you.
I think
Softy would
that
just keep you entertained for hours on
oh,
end, right?
absolutely. I
We'll
love
see
that
if he
boy.
returns the favor next week. He's gonna leave you behind, take someone else.
You know, I know exactly what his answer will be, and it's going to be fuck no.
No.
Oh man, I definitely I think top of though would be my brother, and only because we can entertain ourselves. We often, when we were younger, and even now, if we're like at our visiting our parents, doing the dishes after dinner, we'll just start singing like Disney songs and stuff, and we'll have all that fun. And I think that our minds are similar enough that we'd both be sitting there like, how do we fix this?
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. So I
Practical
think I
people.
think that he beats out Softy by a little margin there.
Oh, that's fair. So there you are
Also,
on
I
your
feel bad dragging Softy. He's got a kid.
yeah, true. You can't leave him behind. So there you are on your desert island, just stranded with your photo book, the Alive Tour album, a book of recreating technology, and your brother. What do you miss most?
It's my brother after I had to eat him. No, just what do I miss most? Probably air conditioner.
Yeah,
Just
that's
honestly,
fair.
honest to
Bit of
God,
food.
I think I'd be sick of the heat. Food would be great, depending on what's actually. Ooh, that's a bit. If we're eating the same thing, if it's like we found a fruit tree and it's the
Yeah,
same
you've been
thing
living on
day
papaya
in
for
day out.
27 years.
Yeah, I'm good. I'd love that steak, but
So the
oh
general
God, it's just
comforts
not
of
gonna happen.
life.
Yeah, I know that sounds a little bit, possibly a little
I
bit,
am
first
so
world
the same.
problem,
I
but
am so the same.
yeah,
Convenience
air,
and
yeah,
comfort
just,
is exactly what I would miss.
and I think that's why I work so hard to recreate stuff
Yeah,
because I just want my comforts back.
yeah. No, I think
I want
it's an important
that AC.
demonstration of what you become, and how comfortable we are with life that we have.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
we've all learned to live in isolation in the last year and a half, and we've realised what
That is
makes it
true.
bearable. The aircon, takeaway food, the comfortable
The
sofa,
internet.
the internet. Yes, that's true. On the topic of the internet, why did you become a streamer? Why did you first click the go live button?
Uh, oh, I just kind of wanted to. It dates back way longer than people to think. That way before I actually did start streaming
Mhm.
ever, even before I knew anybody in the streaming community, before I had anybody that would watch me. Uh, it was it was almost a branch from high school. I had a friend and we wanted to make a podcast about video games. Very original, I know. We were in high school. We were about to go to college together, and we thought, hey, this would be fun to get our names out there. And he watched a lot of streams and I
Mm.
didn't. And then while we were talking about it, we never ended up putting the podcast out. But while we were talking about it, and we had actually recorded a test episode, he had talked about streams, and I thought, oh, that seems like it would be fun. Like I'm kind of getting into watching people on YouTube do let's plays. And then a couple years pass. We had moved in together. It was actually the two of us, my brother, and another friend of ours. There were four of us in the house. And I'd go down to his room to hang out sometimes, and he'd be watching streams. I'm like, this looks like a lot of fun. People have people talking. You're having a lot of fun. You're meeting new people. And I thought, I could do this. That'd be fun. It'd be really fun. And of course, you have that vain moment of like, I could get big and then make money off this.
Mm.
Obviously, that's a very big dream for a lot of people. And then it kind of went away because I was just too busy with school and I didn't really have the means. And then fast forward both to probably 4 years after that. And I was like, and that's when I went, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do
Yeah.
it. Maybe nobody will watch me. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. And then I just kind of got some stuff set up. I looked up, hey, what are the basics that you kind of need? Got some
Mhm.
stuff set up and just went. And nobody watched me. Nobody was there. Obviously, that's how everybody kind of
Yep.
starts. Maybe you have a couple friends that will pop in. Uh, uh, you know, I'm very fortunate to have, my brother and some friends that pop in every once in a while. And then I stopped because I was like, I'm not going anywhere with this. And I was also very busy. That was around the time that I moved back from my hometown to where I am now.
Yeah.
Not specifically the city, Toronto, where I am now. And it was like, I got to put that on hold. And then I tried again, and I put that in, and it was like a few months, and I stopped. It's like, I got to put that on hold. And then I did it again. And it's just like, and then I did it for a year and a half or something like that. And I was having fun, and I was having a lot of fun with the stuff I was playing. And then a little bit more personal, there was a little bit of depression and anxiety that took over, and I had to put it on the back burner. And then last year, I lost my job. Many people did. And I said, what am I going to do with my time now? Well, I can go back to streaming, actually. And now I'm going strong. I've been going, I put it at 3 days a week for the longest time. Last October, I said, you know what? I'm going to go 5 days a week. It's actually funny because I did that the week before I got hired back to my job. So now I'm doing 5 days a week job and 5 days a week second job of streaming. And I love it. I love it. I took Wednesday off, and I was fine because I had a lot of ideas and things I wanted to get out, and I needed to take that momentum that I had, so I took the night off. But in the back of my head, I was like, I could be streaming. I kind of miss talking to everybody right now. We could be having some fun. And I realize I've gone way off topic from the original question,
No,
but that's how I started.
that's the whole answer. I think,
Yeah.
the real answer is, why did you start streaming? Because I enjoy it. I think was what I got from that. Yeah. And I think this time round, is it fair to say that you're just streaming because you enjoy it? It's lovely if it brings in money. It's lovely if it brings in friends and fellowship. The dream is still there.
I think it's a little bit of that, and I think actually it's a little bit not that. I think that this time I realized that after not doing it for so long and then starting again, I think that I realized a few things. One, yes, I enjoy it. I enjoy streaming, and there's many different aspects of that. I enjoy the people I get to meet. I enjoy the friends I make along the way. I enjoy being able to share games with other people because I've been so passionate about games my whole life. But I also think that I'm more into it this time because I've focused a lot on my mental health, which was why I had to stop in the first place, and I've worked on myself so much. I think that now I have no illusions as to it's going to be easy or it's going to happen. But now I have this thing in my head where, you know what, put in the time and maybe it could happen. And I think that drives me ahead. It's put in the time, put in the effort, do what you can to make your dreams. To quote a very famous person, don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah.
Just do things, make them happen. For anybody that knows me, I'm streaming. I'm trying to do new things when I can. I'm working on it's a little ways out, but I was mentioning I'm working on a podcast that I want to put out. I'm trying to branch into YouTube, and I'm doing interviews, which I love. This interview with a 1-to-1. I did one with Sivo. I'm doing one with you, and I love them. I love just being able to sit down and talk about myself because I'm so conceited. No, I just love being able to talk.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful,
and it's fun. And I think that's why I enjoy streaming. And because one of the biggest things, I had somebody, and they know who they are. I had somebody tell me, I look forward to every night because you're streaming, and it's fun to be here. And that's right now, it's making me want to tear up because that is what I'm looking for. I don't want to stream because I want to make 100% want to make a job out of it. I want to stream because I want to be that person that can make somebody's day. Because so many times in my life have I needed that. Have I needed somebody to make my day, to really help me get through it. And that's what I'm looking for.
That's
for somebody to be
validation.
Like, you helped me make it through that day is just the best thing that you can hear. That I think anybody that does this for a hobby, for a career, wants to hear is thank you. You really, thank you for doing this because you helped me find a place. You helped me get through this day. You helped me. I not want to die if that's a little too dark, but I have seen people that get to that point. And and I think that's it's this weird self or not self validation, but weird validation, but in the best possible way.
Mm, I think it is, yeah.
If that makes
It's
sense.
massive validation. Speaking
Yeah.
of this, what makes you a good streamer? Why should people come to your channel?
Uh,
Blow your own trumpet.
what makes me a good streamer? I've always been a fan of myself, and that's why. No, I've always been a fan of the way I can talk. I mean, I'm sure anybody that's been here for 5 minutes now in this interview or seen me for 5 minutes realizes I don't shut up unless I'm very tired. But I don't stop, and I always try and explain and work through what I'm doing because I never want somebody to be here and be like I love questions. If somebody asks me, "Hey, how's this working? How are you doing this?" or "How does this game work?" I will answer.
Mm.
That's fine. But I like to say like, if I'm in Minecraft, let's say, and I'm like, let's build this elevator down to the mine shaft because it's just going to make things quicker, and I want it quicker because we'll be able to get in and out and do stuff like that. And I keep talking, and it's because it's not something I was good at in the beginning, but it is something I worked on so hard to be able to keep talking, even when nobody's responding,
Mm.
and it was very much that way in the first place. Right. Everybody
Yeah.
deals with that. Nobody's there. Nobody's responding, but you can keep talking and you're having fun. And even if people are lurking, which bless the lurkers because they're lovely too, you don't want them to feel like they're not worth it, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Oh,
It's like, well, I'm not
100%.
chatting and they're not. Now I feel like I'm not worth it because you're not talking just because I'm not talking. It's like, no, you're absolutely worth it. I'm sharing this with you, even if you're not talking. That's fine. And I think that's part of the reason that I think that people come. And also I've recently gotten into another streamer. I'm not going to name names because I'm not here to advertise them, but it's a bigger one. And I've realized that there's how many times have I said I realize in this interview? I realize a lot of things.
Good.
I've I've picked up on the fact that I want to be the type of person who is not I'm not I am a friend, but I'm not a friend, if that makes sense. Like I am a friend, but like also recognize that you know me through the internet and like I try and be who I am, but like it's can be scary for some people when they think they're too close to a streamer. But I want to be the friend and the person who's there to I feel like I'm explaining this really badly, really poorly. I want to be somebody who you can look at and be like, "Hey, this person is funny, this person is nice, they appreciate their community."
Mm.
And I think that's what I need to work. I'm not saying I'm not that, but I think I almost want to become more of that.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go. That's the next step of growth is improve and just improve my on-screen skills because they are skills.
Yeah, they are.
Some people think
100%.
that it's just flick on the camera and be yourself, which it is. But
Mm.
when you start,
Be yourself
well, it
without
is a
paying too
little
much
bit.
attention to clicking this and clicking that and making sure that works and
Yeah,
being,
sorry, I should say
natural and
there's a little bit of like yes, the back end stuff. I that was a miss
well, no, I don't necessarily mean the back end stuff. I mean, like,
yeah.
you've got to remember to be yourself while you're still, actually
Yes,
playing the video game and things are actually happening.
exactly. Sorry, you are right. Absolutely, and that's actually what I was going to say. A lot of people think that it's just you flick it on and immediately you're 100% entertaining. But it's no, you flick it on, you're yourself, but you're trying to do all these other things, and that is the skills you need to build because you can be the funniest person in the world, but if you don't know how this stuff is working, and all of a sudden you're like, chat's moving too fast, or I'm trying to play this game and I can't think and talk or do at the same time. It's like it's skills. It's all skills. You got to be. Everything in life is skills that you need to build.
Yeah.
Never
100%.
think otherwise.
100%. Yeah, on the note of appreciating your community, the one rule I had really with interviewing anyone was that I wanted to interview people who are like-minded with a community, who are people who recognize their viewership, people who take note of them, people who are, I guess, a little bit more personal. Um, there are plenty of streamers out there who are brilliant, who are an entertainment system in themselves,
Mm.
they're funny, they're great at the video game, whatever it is. But there
Mhm.
aren't that many. Well, there are lots of streamers out there, but it's a different subset section of streamers that connect with the people in their chat. And that's definitely the subsect I was looking for, and I definitely think you fit in. So, um,
Oh,
yeah,
thank you very
I'd say that.
much. That's absolutely what I go for. I don't. My memory is terrible, and I've definitely had it where somebody came back in after like,
Mm.
well, I mean, actually, with like a year away because I was gone, and it's like I don't pick up on it at first, and then I do, and it's like, oh my god, like I'm sorry, I didn't forget
Oh
you. I
wow.
just it's
Yeah.
the name slips my mind, and it comes back, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, and like I'm just a forgetful person in general. And so I always tell everybody, like, never think it's a slight to you if I forget something. It's
Yeah.
not. I love hearing about everything. Like, I love it all. It's just this thing,
Yeah.
it don't store things so fast. I got a leak back here. It's just going. And it's just and I'm trying that's actually another skill that I'm trying to get better at is memory,
Mm.
remembering things. I'm trying to get better at make sure you remember this because you did enjoy talking to that person about this and
Mm.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, streamer secrets. We never remember them by their Twitch handle. It's always it's that guy who comes in when I play that game, or it's that guy that talks about this, or it's the French one,
It's
or it's the guy
or
who
they
always
have
donates 1 bit, or you always have like the
it's
guy in your head as like association, right?
now that being said, if it's a really good name,
Oh, true.
I'll
It's the
remember
guy with a
that.
good name, It's
Yeah,
yeah,
guy with a really funny name, and I like that.
yeah. But
Yeah, it's I mean that's but I think that's what you do with people too. It's if you just meet somebody one off and
mm,
that's it. It's one and done. You just say, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Rain." That's it.
yeah,
Gone. I said my real name there. I shouldn't do that. I and it's like that's it. It's you don't remember that. But if you create a memory with them and something to latch onto, then you remember them.
yeah,
And instead of it being, I remember Sickly Deer, I would hope, it's, I remember Sickly Deer because he came in and used my stream to play a sound effect and scare the shit out of me that one time.
yeah.
I remember
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't get it with the name until they reference back to something that they have talked about in the past or whatever.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then
you're
they
like,
show up a
oh
bunch
yeah, yeah,
of
that
times.
guy.
And then they show up a bunch of times and you're
Yeah.
like, all right, now I
Yeah,
remember you
obviously
because
you get
now
to
we've
know them.
met enough
Yeah.
times. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You got it exactly. Yeah.
And on a far less emotional sense, tell me about, or maybe more emotional sense actually, tell me about the hardcore Minecraft stream. I watch these on YouTube, and I'm not gonna lie, I was personally devastated. I hate Minecraft, by the way, but I was so entertained by this,
No.
and then so devastated. How did this concept come about? What happened there?
So I've watched people do hardcore Minecraft before.
Oh, this is a general
And it's
concept.
been
It wasn't a you
oh yeah,
concept.
yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. I just thought it was a you thing.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
No, I'm not that smart. No, but I've watched people, and it's been something I wanted to try for a while. I actually, many years ago, I did a hardcore run in Diablo 3 with people, and it was to see who would live the longest. And then by the end of the stream, we ended up, all of us were alive. We're just too good, I guess. And it was
Yep.
like, oh, no one died. And so I'd want to do something like that again. And I'm like, well, it's kind of you kind of pick up on some trends, or at least I try and pick up on trends and kind of go with them. Only if it's stuff I'm gonna like. I don't,
Yeah, of course.
I'm not gonna play Fortnite because that's the trendy thing. If I don't like the game, Minecraft, something I like. Hardcore, I'll try it. So I did 2 runs. I did 1 full day of streaming, and then we lost the world the second I started the second day.
Hmm.
And then I was like, okay, that's not too bad. It's
It was
3
one of the
hours of
best
work.
stream starts in history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was all my fault. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
100% my fault.
And if you
So I was
haven't, by
like,
the way, the reaction to this is on YouTube, and it is well worth a watch. It is hugely entertaining. He wasn't
and then
happy with himself.
one. Oh, I was not. I was not. The second one, I went, I did it, and I spent so long. We got so much done. I think that one had to have been like 9 hours, if I remember correctly. It was like 3 streams worth of
Yeah.
work. And then I died. And that broke me.
And it wasn't even a death out of nowhere, was it? It was like it was just a slight impatience. I seem to remember you were whacking little red things, and then suddenly you weren't.
That's right. It was I was in the magma cubes. I said, okay, I've defeated enough of them that I can run through, and then 2 more popped out of nowhere. And it didn't help that I hate that biome, that biome in there too. I hate it. And so that made it almost that like just sprinkle a little bit of salt in the wound, the little burn wounds I got from falling in the lava, and the fact that I had to watch it in slow mo because I didn't die right away. I burned to death.
Hmm.
And so I'm watching it and I'm praying that the burn goes away so I can heal. And it didn't.
It just didn't.
And I died. And I was so upset. And I was like 9 hours of work gone. And I went, that's it. I can't anymore.
Yeah.
Because, and kind of to go, it's almost an aspect of my personality now to go back to the whole technology thing. I had built up all this stuff and I just had to watch it all go away and I don't get to participate anymore. And I thought, no, I'm done. I'm done with it. Like, I don't want it anymore. And I was like, if I'm going to do this ever again, it's going to be just a regular world because I refuse. And it was like, if I remember correctly, that happened and I spent about 15 minutes flying around the world in spectator, just going, look at all the things I could have done. Look at all this fun we could have had. And it's gone now.
But that's what made it so good, is that A, you cared so much when you died.
Yeah, that's true.
And B, like, the content was good, but the fact that you died made it brilliant.
Oh, that's the same.
Because it's what you remember, you know, it was like, oh, we built all this thing and it all came crashing down. And it was great. I mean, maybe I'm just a really nasty, sabotaging human being, but I thought it was fantastic.
No, you're right. That's what everybody, there's certain games where people say like losing is the fun. And it's true because that's the memorable part when you finally failed. And yes, it sounds nasty, but it's like, well, no, because you're right. We did care about it so much.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I think in my head that night or the day after, I came to the realization of like, I might do that again, but not right now. No. Not so fresh.
No, it was the pain was too real at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll forget the pain. It'll numb like a year from now, and I'll be like, let's do this. Yeah. Let's go. Maybe with another person. Maybe that would make it a little easier.
Oh, if they survived and you didn't, oof.
Exactly, that's the thing. If somebody survives and you don't.
If they died first, I'm perfectly okay with it, but I die first. Oh no. Also, that's really awkward position as a streamer if you die first and then you end up streaming them playing the game. That's kind of oh well.
No, that's great. I just get to commentate over their gameplay and make them look like fools while I just reap the benefit. No, you're right. It's hard. That's more of a almost a YouTube thing, a pre-recorded.
Yeah, definitely.
You could do it with other people.
Well, I mean, I witnessed the Minecraft thing as a YouTube thing.
That's true. You did. I need to
how I discovered
get better at getting all that stuff onto YouTube.
God praise
it's very tough when I work a full-time job.
Yeah. God praise the editor.
And I'm trying to.
I don't know how people do their own YouTube videos. I'm absolutely flabbergasted.
Do you have an editor? Or
yes.
Do you...
Yes, I do nothing. I do absolutely nothing.
Dude.
He gets it from the stream. He puts it on the YouTube. He does the title, does the description, does the everything.
That is another one of the big, huge pieces of advice I ever heard for stream was the second you start making some reliable money, hire an editor.
Immediately. Although the last few streamers I've spoken to who are big on YouTube have said, learn how to do it yourself, then get an editor.
That is true.
I think because learned really, really badly, failed miserably, and then got an editor.
That's true. And actually, I would agree with that point. Learn to do it yourself because you have to. That's your entire stream is you, right? So learn to do it yourself, and then once you can, get an editor because guess what? All of a sudden, all that time you had editing is freed up for A, more streaming, or B, coming up with new ideas for stream. Yeah. Or C, doing other projects.
Just having headspace, a real life.
Headspace. Yeah, exactly. Real life is true. That's actually why a lot of people have asked me, why do you stream on weekdays when you're working? And I said, because the weekend is for me.
Yeah.
Yes, I do things for the stream, but that's because I want to, and it's for me. Saturday, I just chill. I'll do some tidying. I will do a few chores. Sunday, I'm a maniac, and I'm in 2 different D&D campaigns. And then the mornings usually I have for myself, and it's just That's me, and that's what separates the fun I have from streaming. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I would be upset if I streamed on Saturday, Sunday, and like 7
No,
days a week. But it's what gives me that time to recharge so that I can be everything I can be on camera
you're really talking me
and at
into
my
taking
actual
some
job
days
where I
off.
make reliable money. Yeah.
You're
I
definitely
also like
talking me
being
into taking some days off.
Yeah.
Uh,
But,
yeah,
yeah.
I think that's fair. On a side note, where does the V come from in your name?
Oh, pass?
So we typed Rain and we thought, shit, somebody's taken that name, and you just sort of smashed the keyboard and the V came out?
No, because oh god, jeez. So my old screen name, and I was young.
Mhm.
I didn't understand what this word was associated with when I made the screen name, and it was never to do with Twitch. In fact, I don't think any of those accounts exist anymore. And if they do, they're not me.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering, I have nothing to do with these accounts anymore. My old username used to be Blaze, and I was like, and then people would say like, "Ah, you must smoke," and I'm like, "No, I don't smoke."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "What does that mean? What are they? Why are they
Oh, he's
asking
a
me if I smoke?"
fireman.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's Blaze, fire, like the raging inferno. It's like, no, because that means to get blazed up, and you're smoking pot all the time. And I thought, oh shit, yeah, that does mean that. I mean, obviously, I wasn't. Well, that was after I grew up and had the name for like 4 years or whatever. And then I really can't remember where the Rain name came from specifically, but I found the name Rain and I loved it. And it was actually around a time I was in a creative writing class. And the main character's name for a book I was writing that never went anywhere, and I would probably scoff at now, although my teacher was a very kind gentleman, and he would always encourage us, me and my buddy. We would sit there and not pay attention to his lesson. We would just write our books, and he was 100% fine. He's like, as long as you get the assignment done, I don't care.
Good teacher.
I'm not teaching you anything. I'm just showing you creative writing. And so we'd sit there writing for the whole class, and he was completely fine with it. But Rain was the main character's first name, and because I was a teenager and I was a fool. This is probably the only time I've ever mentioned this. By the way, this is an exclusive.
Good. We like those.
But the character's last name, the female lead was, I can't remember her first name now, but her last name was Felis, which means cat.
Yeah.
It's basically the Latin name for the cat family, right? And I used it because somewhere online I had looked up and it said, well, make your characters have maybe a name that associates attributes to them or something like that. So something like that. And I thought, well, this person's supposed to be very agile, cat-like, and I don't know. I like cats. I like girls. Like, let's put them together. I don't know. I was 16. I don't know when my brain was gone. And so the V. Actually, I'll give you a guess. If it follows the same suit as Felis, do you know what the V might have stood for?
Vulpin?
Yeah, it was Vulpes.
Yeah.
It was fox. That was my old favorite animal. That still is one of my. I love animals too much now. I don't really have a favorite, but that was my favorite
I
animal.
like it.
No, because now I am not that character. But the V stuck around because, like you said, Rain was taken.
Yep.
So I added the V, and so the V just stuck around. And honestly, I dropped the V. I would drop the V. I'm not attached to it. Mostly because people think it's Roman numeral for 5. I've had people call me Rain 5 before, which is fine because I get that. I get that line of thinking. Because some people have, I mean, you've got numbers after your name too, right?
Numbers in them that I can't get rid of. And they don't even make any sense because I mistyped 1997 when I made my email address in 1997. And they've just followed me for the rest of my life. No, if I could get rid of the 197 in a heartbeat. I signed my name on a form the other day with James 197 and my surname on a bank form. My brain just went like, no, I agree with you. Sometimes you just, and I've looked up this Eleanor person on Twitch. They don't stream. They're a viewer. Apparently their account's been inactive for 11 months. Twitch have actually told me that I might be able to secure the name soon. But yeah.
I have to contact Twitch because I might be able to grab Just Rain as well.
I have a feeling Just Rain might be quite a large streamer.
The way I spell it, though, I don't
unless it's spelled without the Y.
Yeah, I think I've looked at it, and I don't think with the way I spell it, I don't think it's.
Yeah, it's an unusual spelling. It is an unusual spelling. We can hope.
Yeah, because again, I'm a teenager, and I need to be different. I need to be edgy. So let's spell
Yeah.
it differently.
Let's put
And
every possible I sound that we can in a row. No, I think it's great.
pretty much
So I'm gonna do a quick fire round with you now. So simple, this or that.
go for it.
Night or day?
Night.
Walk or drive? That's quite easy.
Walk, yeah.
Silence
If
or noise?
I'm getting driven,
Oh, driven.
I'll take that.
Walk or drive, driven. I like that. Silence
I
or
like that.
noise?
Oh god, it's noise. I need background noise.
Forest
Not
or
too
the
noisy, but background noise.
forest or the mountains?
Forest.
Beach holiday or city break?
I think I'd take a beach holiday.
Yeah. Facebook or Twitter?
Oh, Twitter.
Dinner with
Absolute
friends
Twitter.
or out to a party?
Dinner with friends.
Bath or shower? Given the time,
That's,
choose.
given the time path.
Yeah.
Given the time path.
Shower's a convenience thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Outside of COVID, online shop or visiting the store?
I like visiting the store.
Yeah. Pen or pencil?
Pencil. I'm too messy.
Beer or wine?
Neither.
Neither. It's good, nice and easy.
Neither.
And when you're asleep,
Yeah.
is the window open or closed?
Prefer closed. If it's hot, I'll open.
Fair enough. And let's talk about some personal things about you. So, what's your favorite place in the world?
You know what? As weird as this sounds, there is I don't want to get too specific, but there is a restaurant near my work. I haven't been there in a while, obviously. And it has the best beef teriyaki and gyoza
Oh,
I've ever had in my life. And we used to go every week. And it was Thursday we would go, and it was just such a zen, peaceful moment where we'd get together with friends and we'd just go out for this it was a sushi place, obviously, but we would have it, and I think that's one of my favorite places just because it was such a relaxing point away from work and good food, and like it's weirdly like I kind of almost wanted to do like a trance, and just like I took that first bite and I was like, this is amazing. Just amazing.
fantastic answer. What's your biggest fear?
I think the one that comes up the most is heights.
Bit of heights.
That
been an always
yeah.
thing?
Yes, which raises the question, why when I was younger did my parents take me to the top of the CN Tower
Oh,
for my birthday?
sounds like fun.
For my birthday. It was a good time. Actually, I honestly got over it once I was sitting down and I could kind of take myself out of the situation. I was fine. The food was great. It was a lovely time. I'm not standing on that glass floor. That's ridiculous. People are insane.
Yeah, I can agree with
I think
that.
that's got to be the one that comes up the most. That would probably be the biggest, I guess, just by sheer nope, I can't think of the word. Oftenity.
Yep.
That's not the word.
Off the top of your head.
Yeah.
What motivates you to work hard?
Money. No.
Money's fine. You're a monetary
Money
person.
does,
Yeah.
but I think, and it's not my biggest fear, but I think that there is, and I think it's with everyone. There's a little bit of that fear of I failed, and I think that's kind of what makes me want to push, is because I don't want to get to my deathbed and think I failed.
Excellent motivation if it comes from inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that also means that I am a terrible procrastinator. I don't fail, but I do rush because
I will succeed later.
Again, exactly. And it's another thing that I'm trying to improve, because it's another skill that you can improve. But yes, it's it's the drive to, I want to be where I want to be in life. And I don't want to get to the end of life and think, I really fucked that up. Can I have another go? Can we just have a go again? We'll just go right around again. Cool.
Yeah. Fantastic motivator. Tell us a bit about your work. I don't know about others, but I find your work really interesting. So what's the coolest thing you've worked on? What does your work involve? Those sorts of things.
I got to do a better job, because last time I talked about this on an interview, I was made fun of by one soft shock for not doing a good job of explaining it.
That's okay. I think he's
But
asleep.
uh, but I the coolest thing I've ever worked on is probably Endgame.
Yeah.
It's also the worst thing because I got a huge spoiler that I didn't want to see.
Ooh.
And it's the only time that's ever happened.
Really?
Is that movie. That's the only time I've ever gotten that big of a spoiler, and it was the one movie I didn't want it to happen to.
Hmm.
But basically, my entire job is I take 2D footage that we're given. I have to dice it up, and we put it at different depths. So and then it becomes 3D. Basically, it's like taking paper crafts. If you've ever seen that, people will take paper crafts. They'll cut out a shape, or they'll cut out of a shape of a piece of paper, have a background, and then they'll put the other paper here, so it looks like this
Oh
person's
yeah, yeah.
standing forward. Right? That's essentially all we do. But when you're working with movies and stuff that was shot in 2D, excuse me, you're cutting that shape out of the background. So when you pull that shape out to move it
So
forward,
sorry,
well,
is
then
this
there's
for the
nothing
3D
back
glasses? Sort of
Yes.
watching in 3D, right? Okay, it's not
Yeah,
literally because obviously when we watch movies, we watch them. What's in the film is in 3D. It's just the screen is
Yes.
2D, right?
The screen is 2D. Yeah, if you really want me to get into the technical aspect of it, how the 3D glasses work, which I have a pair right here actually, because I have to use them for work.
I can't wear them. They don't do anything.
Some people can't. Some people can't.
Perfectly
And
spherical eyes, I'm told. What makes it not work? That's what they
really?
tell you. Yeah, if you've got no astigmatism whatsoever, then you don't see through the 3D glasses any differently than you do in 2D.
Huh.
Nothing changes. I put
almost
them on
see
and
that.
nothing happens.
Yeah, I can
It's
almost
to
see
do
that
with
because
like your eyes
basically-
automatically adjust or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because basically what the 3D glasses do is they basically obscure your eyes from half of the lines. Like if you think of your screen as a stack of lines, they obscure it from half the lines. So one eye sees half them and the other eye sees the other half. And then to make things 3D, you do exactly what you do in real life. You split them. So this eye is seeing, it's because it's hard to do, and I used to know how to get it to happen, but there's ways you can make it happen where if you close one eye, if you put your hand like this right in front of one eye, you close it, you can see this side of your hand. If you swap, you can't see that side of your hand, right?
Mm.
But together they let you know your hand has depth.
Yeah.
And it's not. That's why it's depth perception essentially. But our entire job and the whole thing that we do, the entire pipeline is basically trick your eyes into thinking you're looking at 3D. You're seeing the actual 3D footage by moving these things apart, essentially, and doing paper and cutting them out and putting them in front of one another and stuff like that. And a lot of my job comes down to, like I said, when you cut that picture out of the background, you pull it forward. Well, there's nothing on that background now. It's just blank because you ripped it out.
Yeah.
So I now have to go through and create what's called a clean plate, which is used in normal VFX as well. And all of a sudden, all this, like if you just have a circle here that's black and blank, I have to fill it in with stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a straight color, very easy. It's not usually a straight color.
Nothing and anything's a straight color.
The worst ones are crowds.
Yeah.
Because imagine a giant moving crowd, and now I have to recreate 6 people moving behind this one character. And there's no information to pull from because there was no information.
Yeah.
I literally have to make it up and make it look real. And it's honestly, it's not something the normal person would notice, but it is something that we notice working in this because we work on it so much.
Yeah.
So it's actually funny because when you go see another person's work, another studio's work, when they do the same thing, you can pick out mistakes and you go, yeah, they didn't have time to like make this look right because like they didn't. No one else is seeing it. No one else. No. But we know because we do it and we have to do the same tricks.
I think that's the same with any industry, isn't it? You always see it from a different perspective. And I've got this really cool perspective of you sitting in this sort of like, this movie theater with like the rolling films, and there you are with your computer sort of making it all happen. Is this a sort of go to the local office, send the files over job? Or are you sort of in the film production?
So basically what happens is we're given the footage. We're basically contractors. So we're out of it. we get given footage, we do all our stuff to it, and then we give it back.
Right.
What I do on a day-to-day is I sit at my desk. I have a 3D monitor that was provided to me, and I take a shot and I do my thing. Now, to go on with I know it seems really boring when you think about it like that, right? Because it's not, like everybody thinks about it like, yeah, you're sitting in like the theater and stuff. But that being said, we do have a theater in our office, and it's for reviewing.
Pretty cool.
Because it's not a full theater, I will say, but it's, I don't want to say half size, maybe a little less than, maybe a third of the size
Still
of like
pretty
what
cool.
you would get at like IMAX.
With films that aren't released yet. Yeah, that's awesome.
That is true. And we don't usually see it with sound, so we kind of have to get
I suppose
context
because you
clues
have
to
to focus on what you're actually doing as opposed to just watching
exactly.
the film.
And there's no need. We don't need the sound, right?
Yeah.
There's no need for that because that's all gonna be added back in after. But yeah, we have the theater and it's for review because when you're it's very different looking at all this 3D on this tiny screen. It's not tiny, but it's tinier compared to that. And then all of a sudden you bring it to the big screen and every little blemish pulls out and you're like, yes, no, I see that a normal person would be able to see that and notice it. It is noticeable on the big screen.
Yeah.
And so we have to take that and fix it, right? Like that's what it's for. It's a review screen, it's a review theater basically. And I've gotten, not everybody goes in there. Usually it's just, for my department, it's usually just leads, like team leads, the supervisor or the person who's like the stereographer, I think is technically the title, the person who's overseeing all of the stereo that's coming in and approving it to go to the client. And then whoever's running it. There's a couple people that run, like there's a tech that runs through the shots and a production coordinator that writes all the notes and stuff. But every so often, us little people get the chance to go and be in the theater.
Well, that makes it more exciting, doesn't it? You know, you're not watching it every 3 days a week.
Does.
It's like, movie time. You know, to me, this is so exciting. I'm such a movie nerd.
And the other thing that people think is, yes, you think that I'm watching the whole movie. I'm not. I'm watching a bunch of disparaged shots that have almost nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that got handed in. And you do get to see some cool stuff because you wouldn't have gotten to see it while you're working there. But most of the time when you're brought into the theater, it's not because you did something wrong. It's because you're working on a shot so hard that they need to very easily show you this is what needs to be fixed and this is what we need to do. So it's a privilege to go in there, and it's almost a death sentence to go in there.
And like, that's what the job is. It's the exciting bit, isn't it? When you get the challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's fantastic. And my last question in terms of your line of work, do you appear in the end credits?
Yes.
That is so fucking cool.
Not often. In fact, as far as I am aware, only once in the 4 years? Nope, 5 years. 2016, I think is when I started. Only once in the 5 years have I. But it's because my old company were not very nice about the way that they distributed things. The company I work for now does it on a rotation. And so I don't know, given the fact that I was laid off for a bit, whether I'm coming back into the rotation or not. I don't know how that exactly is going to work, but they try and rotate around people. That being said, I have an IMDb page.
That is
so I can do that.
Damn cool. Like that
was actually cool.
If it's not Marvel, who watches the credits and suddenly, you get to watch the credits and go, that's me. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I don't want to say what movie. I don't know if I've said it before, but I think I got to be a little more careful about giving that stuff away because you can kind of start narrowing it down, and it's a little uncomfortable when you're online and you start narrowing that stuff down.
But no, I just think that's awesome. So back onto the go on. Wait.
No, I was just going to say it was like a big deal when I realized like I have an IMDb page.
It's huge. I think that's fantastic. So on a more personal note, who is your hero or your inspiration?
Oh boy, that's another mixed bag because I don't think one person has inspired me to do everything.
No, of course
not. If that makes sense. I think not to get stereotypical, but I think that my dad and the way that he has, especially lately, he's done some cool things that he's always wanted to do in his life. is a bit of an inspiration in like, hey, don't like even when you're getting he's not old by any means, but even when you are getting older, don't let that make you idle. Do the things you want to do. You know, when he was I want to put it around 40. I want to put it around 40, possibly later, like a little earlier than that. He was gifted a skydiving trip from my mom
Oh,
because he'd always wanted to try it. And he did. He went. He actually he has a video. I gotta see if they still have that video footage. I'm not gonna play it on stream, but I want to see it because it's been a while. Because it's just, I mean, it's skydiving, right? It's you with all that wind in your face and like your cheeks going like this, and
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
it's
funny. And
brilliant.
we all had a good laugh. And he's like, "That was an amazing time."
Hmm.
So I definitely think that I can put him there, and and you know, and he cares about his family. And same with my mother. I don't want to disparage my mother at all. It's the exact same thing. She went through a breast cancer. Not a scare. It was breast cancer, and she had to deal with that. And throughout the entire thing, remained so strong, and it's unbelievable. And just recently, had another potential scare that it had come back.
Mm.
And the greatest thing, and we've since learned that it didn't.
Good.
That's amazing news. It was about a month or two ago. But the the thing that makes me so admire her strength is the fact that when she told us, she said, "I'm not sad about this. I'm mad." She's like, "I'm not sad. I'm not going to get depressed. I'm angry and I'm
Good.
pumped because I'm going to kick this thing's ass again if that's what it takes."
Mm.
And I was like, that is so
Fortitude.
inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I've said that, by the way, they might watch. There's a chance they'll watch this, and then I have to. She's gonna definitely message me and be like, "I love you,"
Good.
and I'll be like, "I love
Good.
you."
Said the right
um,
things.
for the non-family stuff, I think I have a few teachers who I've looked up to because I thought that they did a good job teaching. It's not the same level
No, of
probably,
course
but
not.
they're the minor. You know, like I said, I had that teacher in creative writing who inspired me to be creative
Yeah.
and do creative things. I had a teacher in college who showed me that, hey, guess what? Things change and you need to learn to look up and figure things out on your own, and didn't hold your hand. And it was nothing specifically. He didn't ever specifically say that. He did it through his actions.
Mm.
And now there's definitely some people that I look up to, again, on a minor. It's not as I would say deep or emotional as family, but there are some people, content creators, that I look up to, which unfortunately has come back to bite me in the ass. There have been a couple over the past few years that turned out to be not good people.
Mm.
And it came out, and there was, and you realize that, wow, this person who I looked up to as a content creator, not as specifically as a person, and I didn't think I was their friend or that they were the be all end all, but as a person who created content that I enjoyed and that I wanted to not replicate, but that I admired.
Yeah.
It does sting when you all of a sudden you find out, like, oh, this person I looked up to was a scum. I mean, like, and I don't like a shitty human being, and I don't want to say that lightly. Like,
Yeah.
it's a big hit, and I think that's to anybody like that. I think that's probably my menagerie of people I look up to is stuff like that.
Very good collection.
Yeah, I try and I'm a collector,
Well, what holds Rain back?
What holds me back? Anxiety. And like I said, it's the thing that drives me, and it's also the thing that holds me back, is the fear that I'm going to fail. And I'm trying to get better at just saying, who the fuck cares?
Not easy.
Do the things you want to do and stop letting, if it's gonna fail, it's gonna fail. And it's, guess what? Just if you hold on to it, because I used to do that tons of times. I used to hold on to story ideas that I've since forgotten, because guess what? I was holding on to them until I was like, I'm gonna hold on to this until I'm a better writer, because I don't want to write this and ruin it. Well, guess what? It's gone now. The idea's gone because you didn't write it, because you didn't just go. If you don't fail, you don't get better. And when you hold on to all this stuff, you don't grow.
Amen.
Failure is growing. There's always the hero story of somebody who's like, yeah, the first thing I tried, now I'm famous. or the first thing I tried, I made a ton of money. And it's like, yeah, cool. That's the 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to tell you, oh yeah, I did this, I failed. I did this, I also failed. And I failed 100 times.
Hmm.
But I kept at it and I kept going. And then finally that 101st time, it worked.
And
Something I
isn't that
did
more
worked.
rewarding than succeeding first time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, as somebody who's played stuff like Dark Souls, failing a lot and then succeeding feels great.
You're a stronger mind than me. 20 times, throw the controller across the room, done with that shit.
I usually have to end for the night. I'll come back the next day when I know everything, but I come back as a calm mind, and then I'll go one try.
I'm a highly incompetent gamer, so Dark Souls is not for me. Speaking of Dark Souls, what really pisses you off? This can be little inconsequential things or hugely emotional rubbish, but it can be as simple as people who don't shut the fucking door when they leave the house. What is wrong with those people?
Want to know what pisses me off is I get anxious, and sometimes that makes tempers flare a little bit, and usually it's just I'm a little bit snappy, but I'm not angry. And so I guess what ends up pissing me off is when people tell me stop being angry, because I don't like being told how I feel.
Yeah,
that's not your place. Nor is it a good way to actually calm someone down if they're angry.
That's the worst.
Absolutely not. And so being told how I feel really grinds my gears, and that doesn't come up often. Especially since I started dealing with depression and anxiety. I mean, dealing with it as in like dealing with it, not having it. It's helped a lot. And I'm trying to think. There's got to be something else. I mean, there's stupid things.
That's stupid. Like, run away.
I hate people that don't listen to science and reason. It's like, just stop, dude. Like, and it's specifically, it's when they do that, and it's you know what? If you're not going to listen to science and reason and it hurts you, your fault. If you're not going to listen to science and reason and you're hurting other people because of it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's actually, you know what? Which brings me to another thing that's made me very angry in the past is the people I care about, I will defend to my last breath. And sometimes that's not always the best thing.
Oh, but it's fair.
It's just a character trait, I think. Because I've had situations where people will talk about people I like, and I'll be like, and they'll talk as if I don't like them. Like, they're not talking to me always. They're talking near me, but they know I'm there, and they know I'm friends with this person and that I like them a lot. And it's like, well, why are you talking shit about this person? I enjoy them, right? And they're a better person than you. Like, that's usually how it'll go. I'll be like, you know that I'm friends with that person, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Why are you gonna be a prick about this? And that's where it's like the temper flares a little bit, because because I can, and I think, again, that's another thing I've gotten better at. I can see that everyone has faults, and people I like have faults. That doesn't mean I don't like them. No. I have faults, and I hope people like me because of them. Like, not because of them.
Yeah, I know what
regardless.
Yeah.
But I just get very defensive, and I think it's because when I was very young, this is a little bit of a personal story, but when I was very young, in about grade 3, year 3 of school, I had a close-knit group of friends. There was about 4 of us, and 3 of them moved away.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, this shy person who was probably already starting to deal with anxiety, social anxiety and stuff like that, potentially, I don't know, was all of a sudden left alone. And I would wander and I'd talk to people, but not really. And I was basically alone until grade 7, maybe. So 4 years of my life, 3-4 years of my life, I really didn't ever talk to anybody or hang out with people. And then when I did, they were okay friends, but they were a little bit I don't want to say abusive. That's not how that was. It wasn't really abusive, but I think that their personality and mine didn't mix. And so when I finally found friends in high school that I really cared about and we really meshed and our personalities mixed, I think that's when, and a girlfriend at the same time, like I found all that. I kind of almost grew up socially
Yeah.
a lot in high school because of that. And I found those, and I think that that's the reason that like I defend that so hard, because I know what it's like to
Not be.
I know what it's like to not have. It's like I don't want to lose that thing I have now. Like as weird as it sounds,
No, it
it's just
doesn't sound weird at all. It makes a lot of
defending.
sense.
It's not a property, but you know what I mean. It's like defending your property, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's defending something that you care about, which
I think
eh.
that's good. What never fails to make you smile?
What never fails to make me smile? My list, everybody I talk to laughing, having a good time.
Banjo
That's it.
Kazooie?
I mean, like Banjo Kazooie will make me smile. Pokemon Snap will make me smile, but those are all like fleeting almost, you
Yeah.
know. But if I have a good time talking to friends and we all had a good laugh, especially if I made them laugh,
Mm.
because everybody likes when you make other people laugh, when you're the guy who made everyone else laugh. It's such a high. It's like oh, it's such a high that you go on, and then you're just smiling for a while,
Yeah.
you know. And I get way too deep, and that stuff makes you like it just makes you smile for so long, so much longer than a fleeting, you know, haha, I'm playing a video game I liked.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm
Sure.
done now. And once you're done, then your smile goes away because you're like, I did enjoy that, but that experience is done now. Whereas with social, I feel like social interactions, you carry that with you longer, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That being said, there are some games that I have like ended and carried them with me for a little bit after, because when I was young and I played Kingdom Hearts 2 and I hit the end of that, I was like, I love that ending. Oh.
Yeah.
But it's that's few and far between. That I would not consider that an always.
Nope.
You know.
Makes a lot of sense. And finally, what's next? Next for Rain and his streaming career.
Oh God, what's next? A partner. Let's go, partner, right now. Let's make it happen now.
What games are we playing at the moment? What are we playing soon? That's what I mean. Like kind of at the moment next.
Pokemon Snap is going to be soon when that comes out. I'm very looking forward to it. I'm kind of in. I say I had a list of games, and I feel like I do, but I'm very poor at writing them down, like you said. So now I'm going to go back, and I do have to make that list so I can figure it out. I do want to continue with Pathfinder, even though it made me frustrated the last time I played. I want to continue with that. I want to do more survival games. I have a couple ideas that I wanted to do with Crusader Kings when I was playing that. And what else? If it's not counting the arts or the game stuff, I have some new art stuff that I want to do for the stream. I always like improving that stuff, making what people are looking at easier to read, nicer to look at. I'm proud of it. Other people can like it. There's children in the hall outside. That's a great time.
Oh,
but I like doing that. I like improving. I like seeing, because you can go back, and especially now that some of my stuff's on YouTube, I can go back, look at that stuff in a few years and go, look at that stuff compared to where we are now.
100%.
And look how great that is. And it's just, it's fun. And I think I want to branch out. Like, again, I would consider it part of my streaming, but it's more of like the full content creator. I want to branch out, do more things, because I like getting that creative fulfillment. I didn't actually bring that up. That's another reason I probably started streaming, was the stuff I was doing didn't fulfill me creatively. And all of a sudden streaming let me do that because it was my thing to do. And yes, I want people to like it, but like, at the same time, if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I do. And like, I want everybody to like it, but I'm not here to force you to like it.
No,
I'm just here to do my thing creatively, and I hope you like it.
Yeah. I think that's great.
So,
I'm gonna open up the chat. If you have any questions for Rain, just put them in the chat. In the meantime,
everything.
In the meantime, I'm gonna take a couple of minutes to tell you why I enjoy coming to your stream. So for me, it's a relatively more recent thing, actually. I don't sort of a couple of months, 3 months, I think, since I've been popping in.
I think we met through Steve-O, a few months ago.
On a raid, I think, or on a sort of, no, we were sitting there chatting on Thursday Drive Time, because I've known you as a viewer of Steve-O for a long time. And I think it was either Thursday Drive Time or the Wednesday night stream. And he sort of went, oh yeah, and Rain's been streaming this. And I went, Rain streams? What? Hello, where? Um,
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that in
yeah,
chat.
I
I
was
think
like,
I remember you
oh
saying, "Oh,
yeah,
you
that's it.
stream? I didn't know
Yeah,
that."
exactly, and that's when the follow
I
happened.
try, yeah, I
Um,
try not to broadcast too much, but yeah,
no, you
I
should.
stream.
Um, so for me, there's a couple of things. First of all, I know what I'm getting. Like, I know that sounds really like
God.
normal, but I know what I'm getting. When I click Rain Stream, I know what I'm getting. And that is a self-contained entertainment. Um, it's not, how do I put this? Because you do plenty of interacting with the chat, but it's not reliant on that. It's very much I could watch it on YouTube as easily as I could watch it on Twitch. And for me, considering the times at which you stream, it's often very, very late at night for me. That's perfect.
Yes.
Because I like something where I don't have to type and I can just go, oh, it's content. I love how into what you do you get. You're so invested in what you're doing.
Now that is a learned thing.
Is it?
Because let me tell you, before you probably ever remember me from any chat or stuff, the stuff I would stream was the popular thing. And it's stuff I liked, but it was the popular thing. And I would force myself to do it because I was like, well, this is
Hmm.
what people like to watch. And I'll do this. Now, I don't give a shit. I'm going to play Pokemon Snap because I want to play Pokemon Snap. Have you ever heard of a game called Birthdays the Beginnings? I love that game and I'm going to play it because screw you. I need some comfort right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to play it. And that's something that took so long to learn and that I can't believe how much it changed the way I stream.
Mm,
And you're right because it makes me invested and thank you because that's the entire reason I do it
yeah.
is by being that invested, I'm hoping that it's infectious and you guys become
Yeah,
invested.
it comes through, you get it.
Because
I mean, I'm
that's the point.
attached to Octavia, like you say, and there's a wonderful investment. You make me laugh, which always helps. I can't really watch streamers that don't make me laugh at some point or other. You need to break it up with some comedy. And I think
Yeah.
that's great. Obviously you are very interactive and appreciative of your chat. But it is for me, a lot of it is how you interact with your games. I think you're the only person I've ever seen have an argument with a character that they're playing. You sort of, you'll start one way down, and then you're sort of like, no, actually, we're gonna do it this way, and that's how we're gonna do it. And why have I gone that way? And what was I thinking? And what I'm going back here, and I'm doing this way instead. I think I
Yeah,
first
that
noticed this when you were trying to box a merchant into a Minecraft room, and you were
yes.
arguing with yourself over how you were performing the act. And I just thought, this is fantastic because, like you say, you don't stop the talking, but not in a sort of oh my god shut up way, but in a sort of it's commentary. It's there all the time. It's
Yeah.
present. It's comforting. There is no sort of awkward silence, unfortunate gap. It's just you enjoying what you're doing and displaying that to other people. And in a way,
Yeah.
I guess the smaller channel thing comes in here a lot because some people's streams you turn up to and all they talk about is response to chat. And I think
Mhm.
I would miss something from your stream if I came and that was how it was. If people were being uber chatty, it's great. It's lovely to see a chat
Oh,
flowing,
absolutely.
but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
there is a wonderful element of self-contained entertainment. I suppose what I was going with was like it's YouTube content as much as it is Twitch. It's a self-contained.
Yeah.
You can watch this and
And I
just
think
sit back and
that's
enjoy.
I think that comes from the fact that even when I first started streaming, I didn't watch Twitch.
Yeah.
I do now, but I watched YouTube. And so that's where a lot of that comes from because I've learned things from other people, right? That's kind of like monkey see, monkey do
Of
almost
course.
kind of thing,
We
right?
all do.
But I think that actually that you know what? It's weird that you've pointed that out because I think that the people I like to watch the most are people that can do that. And even if their chat's moving fast, they take a breather, they let chat talk to themselves,
Mm,
and they just do the game and riff on the game, and then they'll come back to
yeah.
chat and say like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like,
Yeah, I
there was a
love
guy
those
like
moments.
yesterday where it was like, "What are you guys talking? Wet eggs? Why are you talking about wet eggs? Like, what does that have to do with anything?" And it's like, and it's because somebody brought up these like bags you can buy from a grocery store that's like it's literally eggs in a bag of water. And it's like, what the hell is this? And I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's funny because like yeah, you get those kind of riffs where you can like you hear them arguing with themselves, like you said, but also then they interact with chat. It's a healthy balance, I think,
Mm,
because and your style is always going to evolve with the channel,
Of course.
always. And I think that healthy balance kind of changes as time goes on. Sometimes you'll be interacting with chat more. Like I do some just chatting, and actually I've been getting into doing that on the start of streams, just trying to sit
Yeah.
down, have some chats before we get into the game. That way, A, nobody's missing the beginning of the game if they really wanted to be here, and B, it just gives me a chance to catch up with people without focusing on the game and missing stuff. And just chatting is very different than, yes, if you're playing a game, because then now I'm dividing my attention. Like and people, I think people pick up on that. The fact that now streamer done looking at chat all the time, now they play game, we talk
Yeah,
amongst ourselves.
100%. Although
And
I'm very envious of your skill to start a stream with just chatting. I'm just terrified. I'm going to start a stream with just chatting. There's no one there. I'm talking to myself. Like, because people arrive, sort of 5, 10, 12 minutes in. And I know I talk to myself for the whole stream when I'm playing a video game. But when it's just chatting, you need to know what you're going to start talking about before you press the go live button.
So that is something I have been blessed with, is the fact that if I can find something to talk about, I don't shut up about it.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing and a curse, because I often find myself talking over people sometimes, and I don't mean to. It's never a malicious thing, but I like talking and I like sharing the ideas that pour out of my head. And I will say the just chatting thing is new. That's not something I ever did before. It's actually just kind of started a little bit this week.
Yeah.
I should say the actual literal, I'm just in the just chatting category.
Yeah, I think I caught the first one a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and I like to, but you're right. It depends on who's there. So whether I jump out of just chatting right away or whether I stay in for a bit talking to people and sharing stuff, it's really going to depend on who's there.
In a sense. If you're going just chatting and you start talking and you realize, hey, we're not getting much response here, you've got your video game to roll into. So I suppose,
exactly, and that's why I would never do. It's very difficult to do a full just chatting stream. Now I have done it before, and my God, did I like it? But that's because I did it at the end of things when everybody was there. Most recent one I did was I tried to do a Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer run.
All right.
And the emulator, because you have to do an emulator. I do own the game. If any police are watching, you have to do an emulator, and the emulator kept breaking, and it would freeze my camera. It would crash the game. Everything. And I'm sitting there like, oh, why isn't it working? Why is it not working? Why is it not working? And then I went, oh, fuck it. Let's just go just chatting for a bit, because I can't deal with this right now.
Yeah.
And there were a few people in there, and then we just chatted. We just talked about stupid shit for so long. And I love those streams because that is the epitome of interacting with your community. Yeah. And it's not easy to do. I absolutely know when people say they're afraid to go into just chatting. They don't want to go into just chatting because it's terrifying, because that is like doing stand-up comedy and no one laughs.
Yeah, it is exactly that.
And it's terrifying. But if it works, and if your community can be there, and it's not their fault if it doesn't work. By no means is it the community's fault, because a stream is built upon the streamer and the community and so many other factors. And if things don't work, it's not one person's fault. It's just things just didn't work this time.
Yeah, of course.
But when it works, and when you have a good time just chatting and you're just talking about stupid shit that doesn't really matter, but it's like sitting around the fire with your friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's wonderful. And I think it's wonderful that we can get that interaction in such a unique way with people who we don't really know. Even viewers who've come to our channel 150 times, you still don't really know them. If they walked past my house tomorrow, I wouldn't know who they were. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's really quite exciting. Daramero asks, please no demonstration. Are you able to put your leg behind your head?
I was going to answer this. The answer is no. No, you know what? The answer is maybe, but I'd probably get stuck.
And have you ever had a need to? That's the one I always ask for that. And I've never thought, do you know what I really need to do right now?
There was one time in high school where me and my girlfriend got really... No, just kidding. No, I've never had a need to put my leg behind my head, ever. Maybe for a joke? maybe that's the only reason I would have
Yeah.
to. It's like, ha, here's a little joke for you guys. Like, watch me get stuck and my old man back breaks.
So I'll just leave it for a moment and leave it open. If anybody else does have any questions for Rain, please put them in the chat. But in the meantime, first of all, thank you so much for coming and chatting. Um,
It was absolutely a
it's
blast. Honestly, it
yeah,
was amazing.
it's a
It's like the
total pleasure.
nervousness in the beginning disappears because you led me in so many fun directions.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
liked
need
it
a bit of
so much.
structure, so I quite like having that there. But I think you're definitely the sort of person who can just we just have a chat, and I think that's
Just never
it's
shut up.
really
I get
nice to
it.
get
Yeah.
an insight. No, not at all. It's lovely to get an insight as to who
Yeah.
people are. Secondly, when are you next streaming? We're 5 days a week, weekdays, right?
It would
So it would be
be, yep,
Monday.
so it'd be Monday,
Oh yeah,
6
you're streaming
PM
on a non-stream
EST.
day. Thank you so much for popping in on a non-stream day on a
Oh
Saturday.
god, no, I mean, this is I would consider this, maybe that means I'm a workaholic when it comes to streams, but I would not consider this, I don't have to do it. I just show up and talk to you
Yeah,
and
true.
try and do my best. But, absolutely, I'm never opposed to joining somebody else for some fun. That's
Mm,
what the weekends are really for. It's for me to just turn myself off a little bit, have some fun, you know, for a bit. And this is me having fun. This
good,
is me enjoying talking to a friend and having a good time. So
good. I'm really glad. I'm glad you see it that way. So we're gonna say thank you very much to Rain. I'm just gonna do a couple of streamy things afterwards. But thank you so much for
yeah,
coming.
absolutely.
And yeah, I look forward to
Thank
seeing you
you for
soon.
having me. Yes, thank you. And thanks everybody for listening to me ramble for far too long for simple questions.